Hey guys, welcome back to the ConTechHQ Podcast. Today I have Max and Shawnee from Truss Payments. Hey Max, hey Shawnee, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good. So Shawnee, do you want to just take us briefly through what Truss Payments is about and basically tell us about the platform?
For sure. Yeah. So Trust Payments is basically a bank with a payment processor built on top. We allow contractors to handle their receivables and their payables and have access to charge cards without any monthly fees. So it's a little bit different than the traditional way of collecting checks and all of the nonsense that kind of goes on with that. Um, And on the receivable side, we allow for payments to be collected through credit card or ACH. And we also allow for the contractors to pass those processing fees for the credit card payments on to their clients. And on the ACH side, there's no fees for either party. And then on the payable side, we do ACH and check, where we print and mail the check for the contractor in order for them to pay their subs and vendors. And then the last little thing we do is the charge cards, which are connected to the account balance and allow people to buy supplies and other things related to their business. So everything kind of works in tandem. And when you're using the system holistically, you're able to access all your funds instantaneously. So as soon as an invoice is paid, you have access to those funds on the payables and the charge cards.
Oh, great. I heard no fees and I got excited.
Yes, most people do.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a bit about like, I guess you already kind of touched on it, but if you want to just shed some more light on it, like what do you think makes trust payments stand out in the market and like amongst like competitors and all of that?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. I'd say the first thing is that we are primarily and only focused on the construction vertical. So even though there are some other payment processors, they're working with a whole variety of industries. And something that comes along with that is construction typically has very, very high volumes of funds flowing in and out. And that is not typical for, like retail or something like that. And so oftentimes limits, hold times are all associated with industries that are not receiving the kind of volume that you are in construction. So the biggest thing is that we know what volume looks like in construction. Our limits are set up for that. Our holds are set up for that, everything like that. And then on top of that, the other biggest thing is that we really are the payment processor plus the bank. And that's very unique in its setup. It allows us to basically provide that instant access to the funds. If somebody is just a payment processor or just a bank, they're relying on that other party to get the information back and forth, which is where a lot of those extended hold times can come from. So being able to provide instant settlement times on those payments and not having any fees for any of it is the biggest vantage point for us. Advantage point.
Nice, nice. Um, I'm just gonna grab the questions real quick. Sorry, I'm super like all over the place today, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Um, Definitely gonna edit this part out.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, yeah. This is what I was trying to remember, the core strengths. I know you just spoke on what differentiates the platform, right, from like competitors in the industry. So do you want to just tell us about like the core strengths? What you feel makes the brand as strong as it is?
Yeah. So definitely the no fees, the instant settlement. And then the last piece is just our customer support. Unlike traditional banks, we work on the weekends, we work in the evenings. So if anybody needs to get a hold of support, there's always somebody available for that. And that's something you just won't get with a traditional banking system.
Yeah, I literally just very recently left my traditional bank
Yeah.
and moved over to to a digital bank because, yeah, I
Hmm.
said earlier, I heard no fees and I got excited. And it's simply
Yeah,
because of the fees that I left my traditional bank.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I don't know if you touched on it already, but who is your ideal client?
Yeah, that one's a little bit different for us because we really work with so many different kinds of businesses. The main thing that we're looking for is somebody in that construction space, obviously, because that is who we deal with. That's what our, risk system is set up for. But in terms of size, we have some customers doing many, many, many transactions a day with huge volumes, and then we have people that do one job once or twice a month because they're doing big custom homes. So there's not really a specific size or volume that we need to see. Um, and there's different benefits for different sizes of customers. A lot of the smaller customers that use us are able to use us as completely as their operating account, which is really nice. They don't maintain any other accounts. They just use us for everything. And then some of the bigger people are using us for, say, just the receivables. So it's really adaptable based on what the business needs are.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's pretty straightforward, I guess. Okay, I guess now would be a good time to segue into the product demo. And so for the demo, just like feel free to show whatever you feel like you want to like spotlight. Um, just I guess maybe like the most important things. And honestly, you have like control over this section. Just whatever you want to show and what you feel like clients benefit the most from
For
knowing.
sure. I'm really horrific at Zoom. So can you see
Yeah, I see
my
everything.
screen? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll just do like a really quick overview of everything. Um, One of the main things we do is integrate with QuickBooks. So I'll kind of show what that looks like, but it's completely possible to use the system without QuickBooks Online. It's just that the vast majority of people that are using us are also using QuickBooks. So it makes more sense to show that. So like we talked about, Truss is a full bank account with that payment processor built right on top. So what I mean by that is that each account does have an account and routing number. So the people that are using us for an operating account are able to run their payroll through this, any sort of pre-authorized debits. You can do it all within the system. And we do have $3 million of FDIC insurance. So the invoices that are created, they're created in QuickBooks if you're using QuickBooks Online, and those will automatically flow into Truss. Once they're paid, that is automatically reconciled all the way back to QuickBooks. So I'll show you what that looks like really quickly here. So for a lot of people, I know when it comes to QuickBooks, they're really nervous to do anything that can impact their bookkeeping because they've had some bad experiences with other softwares. So I always like to try and reassure people that the system is not that, and their bookkeepers can stay in the space of QuickBooks. They don't even need to log into Truss if they don't want them in there. So completely as normal, somebody would go in like I just did and create an invoice in QuickBooks. As soon as that invoice is created in QuickBooks, and now my internet's of course going to be slow, it's going to pull into Truss automatically. So you can see that invoice that I just created pulled in here. And at the very same time that that happens, the customer is getting a link to pay that invoice. This is obviously branded to the contractor. So their customer goes in. You can still see this, yes?
I can.
Max?
I can.
Okay, cool. So the payment portal is completely unique based on email address for each customer. So the one nice thing about that is that you have a full history. So people that are doing progress payments, deposits, multiple jobs, they have a full history of all the previous payments, and somebody can just go in and download a receipt for previous work that's been done without having to contact the contractor for that. So here we can see that invoice that was created. They go to pay this. They can see that it's completely free for them and the contractor if they do the ACH. The credit card fee is right here. The nice thing about this is it kind of eliminates the contractor from having to have that conversation with their customer, because Both options are transparently displayed beside each other. If somebody doesn't want to pay the credit card fee, they have the option for the free ACH. So in this case, I'm just going to pay this with credit card so that we can see what that looks like. Oops. Okay, so that payment is done. And if I go back here, you can see that it is marked as paid in Truss. Then if I go all the way back to, there's a new update on QuickBooks, so I can't find anything. But if I go back to QuickBooks, oops, and I find that invoice that we just created, you can see that that payment has been recorded within QuickBooks. So it's reconciled all the way back. There's no need to go in and record that payment. So like we kind of talked about, as soon as that invoice payment is received, as soon as the customer hits pay, those funds are instantly accessible. So if you have the charge cards, which has the automatic text that gets sent out to upload receipts for bookkeeping purposes, you could go and spend all the funds that the client just paid on those charge cards, or you can go in and send some money to a sub or a vendor. So kind of similar to the invoices, you can create that bill in QuickBooks and have it pull into Truss. And then in this case, I'm just going to create one. Oh, we don't have anything. Perfect. So you just need an email or a phone number in order to send this payment. And then we're going to send them, let's say $500. This is going to be for their invoice number 45. You don't have to put any of that stuff. You can attach the file if you want. And here we have the options. So the direct deposit would be obviously if you already have their ACH information. The check delivery is if you know it's a vendor that prefers to receive a check. But the payment link is really nice because it removes the burden from the contractor from having to collect that sensitive banking information from their vendors and their subs. So I just sent that payment link off. And if I go to receive that, did that not work? There we go. It's kind of similar to the invoices. It shows up just like that. The vendor does not need an account with us in order to accept the payment. So they'll just click on the link. And how many is that? There we go. So that's the $500 that I just sent. So like I was talking about with the sensitive banking information, if you send it this way, the person themselves enters all their banking information, then we save that for subsequent payments. So it's a lot more secure than somebody, texting you their account and routing number. They're entering it themselves. So that's for the standard ACH transfer. If it's before 3 p.m. Eastern, we send it same day. If it's after 3 p.m. Eastern, we send it the next business day. And they also have the option for an instant bank transfer. So let's say it's the weekend and they don't want to wait until Monday to receive those funds. They can pay that 1.5% fee, but there's no fee for the contractor if they choose to do that. And then finally, they have that option for the check delivery. So payables are extremely popular with our customers. They have a very high adoption rate just because the subs really like the system and how easy it is to use, and how everything's kind of saved for future payments. So it's a very quick turnaround on them receiving their funds. I think that's mostly it, Max.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit all the major points. We do have a mobile app that we're launching. It's in beta right now, but that'll be out soon. That'll allow for tap to pay payments with cards, and that'll be lowered to 2.7% rather than 3.0%. And then sort of the other way that the sync works is we have a lot of people who are not just using QuickBooks for invoicing or anything. They only use it for accounting, and then they have an entirely separate project management software like JobTread, Builder Trend, or Service Titan, or anything like that. most of those, or commonly if they have them linked to QuickBooks for their accounting, we can still integrate with those other project management softwares as well, kind of using QuickBooks as the middleman or as the brain for the integrations. So we can kind of we can allow people to use us without changing anything in their workflow, even if they're using a whole bunch of different softwares that we don't directly integrate with.
Right. You spoke about the mobile app. That was going to be my next question, which is plans for like the next few months. Like anything that you feel like you want to share, stuff that you can share, obviously, because I know there's stuff that is obviously like under the what's it called? Stuff you
NDAs.
can't exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything that you feel like you can share or you would like to share.
For sure. We do have some other partnerships and direct integrations coming. I can't say exactly what those are until the details are finalized, but there are more coming. Some other things on our roadmap, like Max mentioned, there's the tap to pay that will come. The nice thing about the tap to pay is it doesn't require like a card reader to tap the card. It's just right against somebody's phone. And that's going to be kind of a game changer for plumbers or anybody in the service side of things who are doing a lot of payments frequently throughout the day. The other thing that we have on the horizon is some higher interest savings accounts coming. And eventually we will also have sub accounts for people that are operating out of multiple accounts to divvy up their funds.
Okay. Okay, that sounds great. Sounds like amazing stuff. Super fun stuff coming. Thank you for that demo, Shawnee.
Mhm.
I just want to, before we wrap up, just want to ask, like, if there's anything else, like, anyone wants to add. Max, do you have anything that you wanted to add to everything Shawnee has said, aside, like,
Yeah, I mean, Shawnee's kind of covered a lot of the main points, a lot of the value that we're kind of able to provide. I know you had touched on it a little bit earlier. You were asking us about kind of what our competitors are and what sets us apart. I think what's kind of cool about us is we don't really have many competitors. There isn't anyone else who's doing either banking or payments specifically for the construction industry. So there's no one who has a platform in that is built around the specific challenges that people in that industry face, which we know what they are. We have built that, and we've seen a lot of happiness from the people who are starting to use it. And then the other thing is the free instant deposits. There's no one really offering that right now. You can kind of get one or the other, and the contractors really kind of need both for it to be useful and beneficial to them. So we're kind of the only ones who are able to offer that, which has been something else that they are very excited about once they start using us.
hmm. I think that's super important that you mentioned that. The fact that there's really no other like competition out there, and like you're pretty much like the big dogs in the game. Um, yeah. Okay. Okay. That was, I guess that was pretty great. I think we kept to time, and I think we're able to touch base on everything that needed to be said. Um, Other than that, I don't think I have much else to say. I'm sorry that my camera is not on. I typically would have the camera on in these sessions, but today is just a very rough day. So it's like, yeah. But
Totally
yeah,
fine.
the recording, I would once I edit it, I will just like I don't think I have that much to edit. I'll just like send it over and like well, it's gonna go on our YouTube page anyway, so and also on the Truss Payments site page on ConTechHQ. So
Cool.
you'll always be able to refer back to this. But yeah, thank you guys so much for
Awesome.
this. Thank you for taking time out. Um, if there's anything else that I need, I feel like I could definitely reach out anytime. Uh,
Awesome.
Sounds good. Yeah,
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
so much.
okay, thanks guys.
Of
Bye.
course. Have a good one.
Bye.